Hello ladies and gentlemen, Mike here at Game From Scratch, and today we're going to be talking about the Unity game engine and does it make bad games. This has been an increasingly common trend among mainstream gaming YouTubers, basically stating outright, its game is bad because it was made in Unity. So that's the question we're going to answer today. Does Unity make bad games, and why do people have this perception? So let's start things off with a very firm answer. Does Unity make bad games? Yes. Lots of them. In fact, thousands upon thousands of bad games are made using Unity. Are games bad because they are made in Unity? No. All right, so that's pretty much the answer to the entire video, but now let's go into the why of it. So several of my favorite games recently were made using the Unity game engine. This video will have footage of some of the best games. I highly recommend you check them out. There are some of my favorites, at least. So Unity is very capable of making some quite good games. So we're going to discuss some of the reasons why Unity has a bad reputation, and frankly, some of it is quite earned. So first off, a bit of background for people that aren't part of my regular game development crowd. So if you're a gamer and you're not really up to speed on what game engines are all about, this is for you. For everyone else, check out, there will be a timestamp down below where you can jump to where this is over. So Unity is a game engine. In fact, it's the most popular game engine out there. A game engine is a collection of tools, libraries, code, etc. that are used to create games. Unity is a full-service 2D and 3D game engine, meaning it provides all of the tools and technologies you need to create your own 2D and 3D games for a number of different platforms, so iOS, Android, desktop, Mac, Linux, various different consoles, virtual reality, etc. There's alternative game engines out there, such as Unreal Engine, as well as the open source Godot and developing O3D game engines. It is possible for developers to create games without using a game engine at all, or to create and maintain their own game engine, but this is a huge task and is becoming increasingly less common. So most people that are making games today are using a game engine, often one of the four I just mentioned. So as mentioned earlier on, Unity is the most popular game engine out there. It has been used to make the most commercial games, and frankly, it's not even close. So if you go check out SteamDB's technology section, you'll see what I mean. Now, SteamDB automatically scans all of the games on the Steam platform and determines which game engines they were made with. And you can see here, Steam has identified 30,000 Unity titles, or almost 30,000. So if you look at that, the next closest match is 1/4 of that with Unreal Engine. And then the next place down is literally 1/8 of that with Game Maker. So you're making 4 times more games using Unity than any other game engine out there. So then why does Unity have such a negative reputation from so many game reviewers? Well, the first part is pretty simple. Many game reviewers don't really know a darn thing about making video games. There's a completely different skill set between playing video games and making video games. And one of the people out there that recently discovered this was the Game Maker's Toolkit. He does a lot of game development related tweets, and recently has gone down the task of actually creating and learning to create games himself. He recently tweeted, "My fellow YouTubers, I implore you, stop talking about game engines. It's embarrassing, and these silly misinformed stereotypes only hurt the game dev community." And this is a sentiment I echo 100%. But there are, of course, a number of other reasons why Unity has this negative reputation, and one of them really is quite stupid. So we're going to talk about that one last. So one of the easiest reasons why Unity has a reputation for making bad games is, well, frankly, it makes the most bad games. This is simple math. If your game engine is used to make 4 times more games than any other game engines out there, and let's face facts here, the majority of games made are pretty terrible. So if you are making the most games, the most popular engine for making games, you're also going to be the most popular game engine for making awful games. Again, simple math. You really can't argue with this one. You also can't blame Unity for being popular. So that's probably the biggest reason why it's associated with bad games is, quite frankly, it makes the most bad games because it makes the most games. So another reason why so many games are made in Unity is it can be incredibly easy to create games using Unity. Also with Unreal, Godot, etc. these days, making games has probably never been easier. But one of the things Unity has going for it is it has the single best asset store available. The asset store is absolutely massive. This is a place where you can buy or sometimes even get for free huge volumes of stuff that go together to make a game. This includes things like 3D models, animations, prefab game-ready objects such as like houses or trees, as well as full-on game kits. That basically, if you want to make a collectible game or a first-person shooter or a third-person shooter, you can actually buy pre-configured game kits, and you just have to customize them to make your own game. So this really lowers the barrier of entry to make games, but it also results in more bad games. So the Unity game engine probably lowers the barrier more than any of the other engines out there. And a part of it is definitely this asset store, but this also results in thousands of bad games that are regularly referred to as asset flips. Another perceived negative about Unity, and this one is fair but not really, is it isn't really associated with mega budget AAA titles like Call of Duty, Mortal Kombat, Grand Theft Auto, that kind of thing. There hasn't been a gigantic game made using the Unity engine. And I think part of that actually more comes down to team size and workflow issues than it does to the game engine itself. And I know that they're definitely working on this aspect of the Unity engine, but when it comes to the AAA space, they don't really have one to hang their hat on. Now, a lot of those engines, like for example, the Call of Duty series uses an in-house engine, whereas the Mortal Kombat games are made using Unreal Engine. So definitely Unreal does have some of those huge budget games to like point at and say, we made that. Whereas in the world of Unity, that isn't quite as true. Another really big reason why Unity games are often seen as inferior, and this is the stupid one, and this is incredibly stupid and a self-inflicted wound. So all four of the game engines I mentioned earlier on, Unity, Unreal Engine, Godot, O3DE, you can start developing them with no money required up front. With Unreal Engine, basically after you hit a certain income threshold, so after your game has made $1 million, you have to start giving them, it's like a 5.5% royalty or something to that effect. So if your game makes huge amounts of money, so do Epic Games. But you don't pay anything until your game makes $1 million. Whereas O3D and Godot are both free and open source. You can use them however you wish. But when it comes to Unity, they take a different approach. Unity does things using selling subscriptions. So there is a completely free tier, the personal tier, which as long as you make less than $100,000 the previous year, you can use it to develop your game. So basically up to the $100,000, you don't have to pay Unity a cent. Beyond that, then you start getting into pro and enterprise licensing where you pay a set amount per month per developer in your organization. So that's the approach they take. And Unity Personal is almost identical to Pro and Enterprise in terms of features, other things like source code assets, ability to deploy to console platforms, and a few other features like that. They're basically the same version with one major, gigantic, huge but, and that is splash screen customization. And this is stupid. This is the single dumbest thing that Unity are doing right now, and that's an impressive task. So basically, Unity are advertising their engine on the lowest budget, least professionally made games. So that's what the splash screen means. When you make a game in that personal tier and publish it, you have to leave this made with Unity logo screen that pops up. So again, the only people that are forced to show the made with Unity are the people that can least afford it, that have the most amateurish teams that probably are making, default, the worst games out there. The worst games are being forced to show the Unity logo. I can't even begin to describe how incredibly stupid this is and how damaging to the brand this move has been since day one. And in all honesty, I can't fathom how a higher up at Unity hasn't figured out that this is stupid. But alas, Unity has been pretty well known for self-inflicted PR wounds over the year, and this one is definitely no exception. So, as you saw throughout this video, the Unity game engine is capable of making outstandingly good games. Some of my favorites, and will continue to do so for many years to come. A game is not bad simply because it was made in Unity, and making a good game in Unity is no harder than making a good game in Unreal Engine or Godot. You can make great games in all of those engines. There's nothing about making a game in Unity that is going to make that game bad. There's no technical reason for Unity games to be bad. But making a bad game in Unity is extremely easy. It's probably easiest to make a Unity bad game than it is for almost any other. Now, you can make a bad game with any game engine, but things like the asset store and the huge community and all the source code you can clone, etc., make it probably the easiest in the Unity engine. And then Unity has this brain-dead, stupid, moronic process where those are the games where your logo is shown. This means when people see the Unity logo, they associate it with bad games. This, ladies and gentlemen, is very, very, very stupid. So that is it. Unity, does it make bad games? Of course it does. Are games bad because they are made in Unity? No. Is this reputation deserved? Not really, but as I just mentioned, there is a really stupid decision from the people at Unity that fed this reputation, and every single bad asset flip you're going to see on some place like Steam that throws that logo in your face makes the stereotype even worse. If you're at Unity and you watch this video to the end, My goodness, get rid of the splash screen requirement. You are shooting your own feet with this one. So that's it. Hopefully that was useful, and I will talk to you all later. Goodbye.